All right, folks. Let's see. I see a lot of familiar faces from earlier. We're actually going to revisit about 4 slides from earlier as well, but we will go very quickly. And this is probably going to be an even shorter presentation than earlier. We'll probably be done in about a half hour. This is the other side of the coin when we're talking about the media ecosystem or ecosystem in higher education. We're talking about delivery. What do you do with your videos once those videos have been recorded? This is me. Again, feel free to contact me anytime. I do not sleep. Media ecosystem, encompasses all aspects of the workflow from creation to storage and delivery. We're going to be talking about delivery. And again, here's the Frost & Sullivan with the messy grid. This is where all your videos come from. This is where all your videos go. Again, the drawing I made. And this time we're going to look at, again, this little sliver over there called delivery. In my graphic, it's a lot bigger. And what do we mean by delivery? The streaming of audio and video media to a computing device agnostic of operating system or platform. That means it doesn't matter if it is a Mac or Windows, if it is iOS or Android. In a number of these contexts, we're also talking about over-the-top Roku boxes or what have you. We do not do that, but it is certainly feasible with a number of these platforms. I'm actually going to leverage a slide I have used in the past. I liked it a lot because it was colorful. Why is it important to manage delivery? And that is because, let's see if I can get it to do this, because YouTube. When I did this slide 3 years ago, it was 100 hours of video are uploaded every minute. Oh my God. And then I looked it up last week and I found somewhere where it said 300, and then I found it somewhere else and it said 400. 400 hours of video are being uploaded every minute. There's a lot of video out there. People make video. People think YouTube, easy, upload video. Not necessarily the best solution, but there's more than that. In 2013, 34% of all internet traffic was video. This is actually a report from Cisco. In 2018, that will be nearly 50%. Let's be fair, that's probably lowballing it. Video is a bandwidth hog. And we find new ways of creating video. If you guys saw that drone presentation this morning, we were talking about terabytes of recording from drones. And how do we get it from one place to another? Drivers of the use and deployment of video on campus. Half of the drivers of the use and deployment of video on campus are individuals, students and faculty, mostly students. They say, I want to use video, and if you don't give them a tool, they're going to put it on YouTube. And only, this was a couple of years ago, only 29% of institutions have a digital content management plan. That's a very broad term, but it asks the question, what is your school doing with video? And this is where we go back to, hey, another poll. So if you guys feel like this, we can do a poll, and I'll give you guys a minute to see if you guys want to log in, or you guys could shout out the answer in a minute. The question I'm going to ask is, how are videos being shared at your institution? And this does not mean necessarily an institutional solution. And this can mean a cart with a VHS deck, DVDs checked out at the library, YouTube. It could be a server under somebody's desk. You have those. You don't know you have those, but you have those. There's YouTube, of course. There's a lot of other options out there, and even that 29% of higher ed institutions that have a digital delivery solution, it's not a cohesive one. People still use other platforms. Internal server, Kaltura, internal known methods, unknown methods, humans pantomiming, acting things out. Thumb drives, yes. Thumb drives, we do have lecture capture boxes on our campus where faculty will walk into a room and record onto a thumb drive and walk away with it. That is because they want to edit their videos before they get uploaded anywhere. These are power users, and we need to accommodate those. DVDs, drives, all right. We'll move on from there. Techsmith, certainly, that is a video platform. Astronomical growth. We know there's a lot of video out there, and yet we must consider, as a higher ed institution, policies related to FERPA, HIPAA, accessibility, copyright, retention. I have that printed on my brain. Most of our policies in higher ed, particularly as they relate to video, do not encompass all these needs. They might encompass some. Others, we simply look away. One that I don't even include here, but we probably should, is export controls. Is the server in the cloud where you are hosting your videos inside the United States? If it's not, then you immediately say certain swaths of video cannot be hosted there. And on top of all that, you must find ways to make it work with a single sign-on user account. Boise, you guys use Google Drive, single sign-on. It's in the cloud. That works. And if it works, then it is a good solution. But there's also the troubleshooting. If someone calls you up and says, this video doesn't play, and I get those emails once a week, someone telling me, this video doesn't play, and it is literally this, because he thinks I can see his screen somehow. He doesn't tell me what video it is. He doesn't tell me what class he's in. He simply says, this video doesn't play. But because we at least have a central platform, I can assume the problem, first thing I do is I make sure other videos on the platform play. Then I need to go down the entire path of like what browser you're using, what operating system you're using, what is your internet connection like, and so forth. These are not necessarily things we can do with other platforms, especially when you have a fragmented system, when you have a server under somebody's desk, and Professor Smith is running his pharmacy classes off a Darwin server or Windows Media server, and a student in that pharmacy class says, I can't watch this video. Well, it's because you're trying to watch a Windows Media video on a Mac iPad. That's not going to work. And then the integrations. What does it plug into? So looking, and this presentation is somewhat of a state of the industry presentation. I've done presentations like this before pretty much every year at Northwest Met. When looking at solutions for your learning, for video platforms, when we're talking about integrations, we're talking about standards, learning tools interoperability, LTI. That means it integrates with your learning management system, Canvas, Blackboard, Moodle, D2L. It must integrate with that, or you are not doing that last mile that you need to do. Open video, we talked about that earlier during the lecture capture presentation. It is a way to create a video that carries with it additional metadata, intelligence that I like to call, chapters, bookmarks, text scrubbing that basically collects the text from the slides if you're using a PowerPoint. Video's got to play back in HTML5. Hope you're not using Flash anymore. Nobody's using Flash anymore. Single sign-on integration, and that generally means CAS or Shibboleth, SAML, and APIs. You want to be able to program against it. We have the adventuresome type out there who likes to be able to program things. Caliper, by the way, I skipped over that one. That is analytics. It's great that you have videos. You need to be able to show that the terabytes and terabytes of video that you are paying for in the cloud are actually being watched. And can you show that it's improving learning outcomes? That's beyond my pay grade. But you can say at least, look, we had this many videos watched last year, and this year we have this many more videos being watched. That was enough for us to make the case for Kaltura on our campus. And we do use Kaltura. Differentiators. There's a lot of platforms out there, but what's special? Here we're talking bells and whistles. What do the different platforms out there do? Some of them have quizzing. Some of them have capture tools. Some of them have capture hardware. Some of them let you edit your videos in the cloud. Some of them, they'll let you download your video and you can use Adobe Premiere or Final Cut. Some of them have live streaming built in. Some of them, and this will be interesting to some of you, some of them have WebEx conversion. Others don't. And then the variables. What's important? Cost. Is it free? There are free options out there, but is it the right tool for you? And the cost is largely factored in terms of bandwidth and storage. Some will sell you, will charge you an as-needed basis. So as you grow, your bill gets larger. That doesn't really work well in higher ed, really. You generally, by and large, you have to like prepay these things in advance. You can't just go to your CIO next month and say, oops. You can't go to your CIO next month and say, by the way, I need another $10,000 this month. So pay as you go is not really viable. You want to pay in advance. Some will sell you unlimited packages. Other solutions like Google Drive, as part of the package, you get video storage. It doesn't carry other types of integration, but the fact is you have unlimited storage on Google Drive. You can put your videos there. Service. This is becoming a bigger differentiator than any other amongst these many different companies out there. What is your service level agreement? What is the response time? How responsive are they to the issues that you are reporting? How responsive are they when there is an outage? What kind of communication are you getting from them? You find that new, young companies out there, broadly speaking, are much more responsive. For instance, Instructure, the Canvas company, became very popular because they were very responsive. While Blackboard was a very monolithic company that people felt they couldn't communicate with very well. That's just an example in terms of learning management systems. But you see very much the same thing in terms of video platforms. Ease of use. I've seen reports from Forrester and others regarding these platforms and about how complicated some are and how simple others are. And it's a trade-off. Again, back in the LMS world, Canvas is very popular because it is a very simple interface. It's a very clean interface, but it doesn't carry much functionality. We did have some Blackboard faculty on our campus who, when we moved from Blackboard to Canvas, were upset because they lost a lot of that power user functionality that they had in Blackboard. In terms of video platforms, again, Kaltura is a very powerful platform. It is, I call it sometimes the Swiss Army knife of video platforms. It's a kitchen sink of video platforms. It's incredibly complex. There's a checkbox for everything. And when you don't find a checkbox for it, they screwed up somewhere, and then I make them put a checkbox in there. Others are much more simple. They do very simple things very easily. They do the essentials very easily, but then maybe they don't have that many bells and whistles. I mean, adding a quiz to a video is not an easy thing. Editing a video in the cloud is not an easy thing. So when you say, yes, it's got a video editor, but now you need to know how to figure out how to move your sliders and mark your pointers, suddenly it's like, I just thought I could edit my video. It's like, it's not that easy. Customization, just how much can you change the interface? What features can you turn on? What features can you turn off? Discoverability, that relates to your videos. How easy is it to link to a video, embed a video, make that video show up in a Google search? And then the viewing experience. There have been cloud delivery companies on the web for years. And some of them, you can tell they've been around for years. Their web interfaces are very legacy. Others have very clean, modern interfaces, and they evolve and they change regularly. Let's see, what's my next slide? Oh, got another quiz. If you guys feel like it. So when we're talking about video platforms, let's throw out some names out there. I've mentioned Kaltura a couple of times. Does anybody else want to throw out any other names? And you don't have to text it if you don't want to. Panopto. If you guys search Google for Kaltura right now, the #1 search result, Panopto. If you guys search Google right now for MediaSite, #1 search result, Panopto. They have bought the top search result on Google for most video platforms.
Do you consider Echo 360 a video platform?
It is. It is almost exclusively a video platform. They are an active learning platform. That is how they rebranded themselves when they moved away from lecture capture. Echo 360 is definitely a video platform. MediaCore. I'm actually going to mention MediaCore in a moment. All right, there's a few good names there. YouTube, absolutely. It is a media platform. Vimeo, media platform. There's others. Let's pull up the slide. When I did this presentation maybe 3 years ago, there was like 4 companies up here. I think I counted 12 on this one. Some of these, maybe I'd forgotten them in the past. ShareStream, that's a legacy company. They've been around forever. But they've been chugging along for years. They are a video delivery platform. McGraw-Hill Tegrity, they are a software recording tool. They are also a video platform. Kaltura, up in the top left. MediaAmp, anybody from UW over here? MediaAmp was developed at UW and spun off as an independent company. Good solid tool. I learned Monday, Arizona State left Kaltura and moved to MediaAmp because they're not getting the service they expect from Kaltura. Service is important. The big blue R in the middle, Techsmith Relay. Remember, Techsmith bought what at the time was called Camtasia and split it into basically Relay as their cloud delivery platform and Snagit as their recording tool and Camtasia itself as an editing tool. They just played a lot of word jumble with it, but Techsmith Relay is a video delivery platform in the cloud. Echo 360, video delivery platform. OpenCast, sometimes referred to as Matterhorn, video delivery platform, and other things. You talk to anyone who uses OpenCast, they'll tell you, oh, no, it's not really a video delivery platform. And try to get them to explain what it really is. It's a video delivery platform. Ensemble, they're a big player. Winoff's recording devices, they upload into Kaltura, Panopto, and Ensemble. Or you can do an FTP upload out of them. Panopto, of course. A lot of these companies, they do recordings. They also deliver in the cloud. MediaSite, that's a Sonic Foundry company. Watch for this guy, Arc. Made by Instructure. That is the Canvas company. They have released their own video platform called Arc, A-R-C. It's like pretty much all the other ones. It plays videos on the web. It integrates it with learning management systems. It gives you analytics. I guess their bells and whistles is the fact that they have like real-time commenting on videos. So if you're watching like a 3-minute video and a student has inputted a comment at like 2 minutes and 12 seconds, that video pops up like a pop-up video. The comment pops up like a pop-up video in the middle of the video. When you have 60 students and 100 comments, that doesn't make as much sense. It was a cool proof of concept, but that's really the only thing that differentiates them. Those are the companies out there. There's a lot of them. I'm not saying you need to use any one of these. I'm just saying you need to use one. In higher ed, the important thing is to avoid fragmentation, and we know how hard that is. We know this from universities that have 6 LMSs. How do you handle that? I don't know. Companies have multiple video delivery platforms. The scary part, not companies, schools. The scary part is the schools that have 0 media delivery platforms. When you do not give them a tool, they will find one. And that means maybe a department buys Panopto, or a different department decides it's perfectly reasonable to put videos on YouTube. It's not. It's not because it is not secure. It is not secure, and it doesn't give you those analytics. It does not give you the FERPA you need. It does not give you the HIPAA compliance you need. This is my speechifying. When everyone has a video creation tool in their pocket, there's no way to discourage the creation of media content, nor should we. Long gone are the days where your videographers lament, oh, everyone thinks they're a videographer. Well, it doesn't matter if they think they are or not. They are making videos. And they are putting those videos somewhere. Students and faculty alike are creating video. It is our responsibility, we are the IT people at our universities, to assist the video creators to the best of our ability to manage their media content within the parameters of your institution's policies, copyright, FERPA, HIPAA. If you put up too many hurdles, your video creators will look elsewhere for solutions. Yes, you can upload this video, but before you do, you have to add meta tags to a video. That's too hard. I can put it on YouTube. It's like, that is too much of an ask. It's simply, if you give them a button to upload a video with, and that's all you give them, they will use it. If you put anything in the way, they're going to go elsewhere. And you must deliver to your video creators a platform that is transparent, seamless, easy to use, and integrated with the other tools they are familiar with. For us, we use Kaltura, and you go into Canvas, and in Canvas, there are video upload buttons, and all those video upload buttons are Kaltura buttons. It is transparent. People don't know they're using Kaltura. I don't care that they don't know they're using Kaltura. They are uploading their videos into an integrated system where if they were to go to a different interface and a different login, and they logged in, they would say, lo and behold, those videos I uploaded in Canvas are here as well. One platform for all of them. What we saw when we deployed Canvas on our campus, it's been about 18 months now. We'd been using Kaltura for about 4 years before we deployed Canvas. And we were using it with Blackboard. And we had about maybe 6 terabytes of video in Kaltura. People were starting to use it in Blackboard, but Blackboard was a very clunky interface, a very clunky integration. When we went ahead with our Canvas deployment, we estimated for the next year how much more video space we'd need. We had to do our next Kaltura contract. We figured 6 terabytes over 5 years. We're going to integrate with Canvas. Let's be safe and say 16. We'll need 16 next year instead of 6. And Kaltura said, well, for the price we can give you 16 for, we can just give you the unlimited package. Kaltura doesn't want to count your bits. They don't want to. We'll give you unlimited. Sure, sounds good. At the end of that first year with Canvas, we didn't have 16. We had 60 terabytes of video in our platform because we didn't put up any hurdles. It was just there. People found it. We tried doing the training. We tried doing the outreach. People didn't come to your webinars. People didn't come to your sessions. People logged into Canvas, and they saw upload video button, and they pressed it, and they uploaded video. And it went into Kaltura. And it doesn't have to be Kaltura. Panopto integrates with Canvas. Integrity integrates with Canvas. Ensemble integrates with Canvas. Find the solution that works for you, that meets the needs that you have and the bells and whistles that you want, and deploy it on your campus, because 50% of the people, 50% of the drivers of video usage on campus are individuals, not the administrators, not the departments. You're being led around by the nose by your students. And your students are saying, I'm going to use these videos, and if you don't give me a tool for it, I'm going to upload it wherever I want. So that's my presentation. Any questions? What are you all using?
Do you caption your videos?
We caption when we need to. Do we caption our videos is the question. We caption when we need to. Our accessibility office is of the opinion, and we are firmly of the opinion, that where there is a student with an accessibility need, we will meet that accessibility need. So, and we are aware in advance when there are students with an accessibility need. So we proactively reach out to the faculty and say, do you have videos in your class? Then we will caption your videos for you. There might be some resistance from faculty, but ultimately the law is on our side. We must accommodate the students. That is academic content. Other content, we're talking about marketing content, HR content, that's not being captioned as well as it should be. And that ultimately is probably only going to change when there is disruption, let's call it that. Yeah. Doug.
Just to echo 360, because you mentioned closed captioning. Echo 360, if you need captioning, you have to go to a third party. They provide you that at a cost. Well, we're sitting fat, dumb, and happy, no problems at all in our world until this fall. For the first time, we had a student who had registered with our DRC, our Disability Resource Center, for services related to their disability, which was hearing, and needed closed captioning. For the first time ever, we had a student who was using Echo 360 and needed closed captioning as part of their academic requirements, something that, we kind of played it fast and loose because we never had to deal with it. And then all of a sudden it becomes a very large football to play with because it's a charge. And I'm like, okay, there's a charge. I don't have the funds to pay for that charge. We kind of went around it about with the academic unit a little bit, our School of Engineering, and then it's like the Disability Resource Center said, okay, because this is kind of a one-off, we're going to take care of these $10,000 charges, that two courses had to be closed captioned, and it was $10,000 total. And it went into their funds that they have set aside in the Office of Academics for support of students who have special disability needs. And for us, that was a huge wake-up call in terms of, okay, we've experienced this. I mean, I'm meeting with our DRC leader, she isn't quite doing one of these with me with Echo 360, but I'm like, yeah. We've been using it very happily. Actually, it's Caption Sync we were working with. I saw that up there. And so it strikes me as we go forward with our planning, whether we stay with Echo or whether we go to another concept of how we do lecture capture at my university, that, we have to add that in. We can't get into an emergency situation, and then when, my guy who's getting the lecture captures up and running is also dealing with getting the files Echo to Caption Sync. So,
can I throw it out to you?
Yeah, lesson learned for everybody. Just wanted to share.
Sorry, I'm going to throw it out to Sam for a moment because Sam and I were exchanging looks when you said $10,000. That is steep. Sam, can you tell us a little bit about what you guys did in terms of captioning?
Yeah, at the University of Portland, I advocated for central funding. So we have about $7,000 set aside in funding, and it goes to the entire campus. Doesn't matter what academic unit. I don't believe in chargeback. I don't believe it creates goodwill. But I'm just saying, I'm director of academic technology. I'm like, this is what I want to do. I advocate with the deans. I advocate with the provost. I advocate with the vice president. And I'm like, we need to do this for our students. This is their campus. So we have centralized funding for that captioning service, and we provide it to the campus. And we do use it.
Yeah.
We use it quite a bit. And we have students that are coming in. Just recently, we had a student, a deaf student, who was doing group assignments. And they were in the group assignments, they were asked to curate videos from YouTube.
Oh.
And I was like, that is a really good one. I was like, well, let's show you how to search YouTube for those things that are captioned. But at the same time, we can ensure that those things are quality captions. So the student's going to be missing out, especially if it's not meeting ADA requirements. So captioning is a big topic, and really get your head wrapped around it. We're definitely not paying, I'm talking about $7,000 for the entire university.
Yeah.
Entire thing. Because, so when we hear that $10,000 for 2 courses, it's like, holy cat, sorry. It's like $1. So rev.com, $1 per minute per video.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you right now, their stuff is really good. And 48 hours, I usually get it back in like 4 or 5 hours. So it's like, there's no reason for that.
The expected price range on captions is usually between 2 and 3. Rev is really good at $1, but they are not flexible in terms of the service. That was like one of the sticking points with us when we looked at Rev. It was like 48 hours and we wanted 24. Sam says we could have gotten them in 4 for $1. And we're talking about per minute. It's like $1 per minute or $2 to $3 per minute is the range you're looking at for companies like 3Play, Subply, Cielo24.
And we do Cielo24 at the University of Portland as our main company, so it is more. But it's part of our built-in contract with Kaltura.
Yeah.
It was just so much easier at that point to do it that way.
Part of our issue is Echo 360, because they're like, oh, this is your provider. And we go to that provider, and they say, oh, well, this is how much these many minutes are.
They're like, this is how many these minutes are going to cost you. And then, of course, sticker shock. They had to come and, they had to pick me up out of my office. They had to check on me and see if I was okay, because I'm like that. And then my lecture capture guy, he's a little nervous always to begin with. He freaked out. He just couldn't little old school, and he couldn't quite wrap his head around what we need to do. And part of that need, if it's to leave Echo 360 to get a cheaper closed captioning, which meets the needs of our students on our campus, I'm very willing to do that, you know.
Well, I have one more thing. What we do, sorry.
We need another mic.
We need more microphones. I will say one more thing. At what we've done now is our department's accessible education services, and we meet with them at the beginning of every term now, and we co-facilitate training to faculty. So we sit with every professor that has a student with an accommodation, and we sit down with them, we understand the accommodation. I'll tell you what, we've learned a lot in our department around some of these. One accommodation was, oh, you have a student that reads lips. You cannot turn your back to that student when you're teaching. So if you turn around right on the board, you can't talk till you turn back around. So it was like one of these things where so we put touch panel displays in every single classroom so that way they can, annotate on the screen. So it's part of our new standard on campus. So it's like, so it's, so I was gonna say, but it's that relationship we have with the other departments and sitting down and with the faculty that are working with the student every day and finding out what are those unique instances every single term. And that has been a huge benefit to both sides because we can share that, I don't wanna call it a burden. It's not a burden, but we can share that responsibility on campus for making sure that content's accessible.
I have so much more to say about this,
Yeah.
but we'll take it offline.
I will get to you, Brad. But our accessibility office, the manager at the accessibility office told me once about a student who was not accommodated physically in the classroom, and she dropped out of the class and she dropped out of the school. That is heartbreaking to me. And it is also unacceptable. And we're talking well beyond videos here. We're talking about accommodating students with disabilities. We're talking about outreaching to students in lower income brackets and so many different things we're doing now. We need to continue to work and improve our accessibility for students with disabilities. But yeah, a couple of things about Anna's presentation this morning. She talked about accessibility. Automated captioning is interesting. It is not a solution. Most automated captioning will give you, on the best day, like 70-75% accuracy. You are looking for somewhere between 97 to 99% accuracy before you can be considered accessible. And I will tell you, there are times where your 99% accurate video will not fit into that fungible definition of accessible, because that 1% of missing words are the important words. And other times when the 97% accurate video is perfectly acceptable. It must be considered accessible, and what is considered accessible is oftentimes defined by a judge. And automated captionings oftentimes only make things more difficult. It gives people the perception that, well, it's got captions. It's like, yeah, but those are not good captions. Our accessibility department has told us that captions oftentimes come up with profanity words in the captions. And that is unacceptable. And sometimes using an automated captioning system to start the process and then correct it later is an approach. I find that is in fact more time consuming than creating your own captions. So there's a lot to consider when it comes to captionings and videos. And something I said in Anna's presentation is there's a carrot to all this. Just because you caption a video for one student doesn't mean that all the other students won't benefit from that video. Those captions are searchable. All these platforms we looked at, they're all searchable. Kaltura's got a marketplace, they call it an exchange. Any one of these vendors you can plug in, regardless of what you use. Most of these vendors, Panopto, they will use pretty much any one of these captions vendors, Echo 360. Whoever you feel is best, they will plug into whatever video platform you're using. But Brad, you had a question.
Yeah, Raul. You mentioned, what was it, 60 terabytes of space?
60 terabytes.
So in your capture process, your hardware used for capturing, your encoding process, your transfer process, do you do anything to restrict resolution?
Not
and
since
file
Kaltura gave me
sizes?
unlimited.
Really?
They gave me unlimited and I abused it.
So do you have
I know
tools?
now.
Do you have tools if you wanted to do that?
I know now that the maximum length of a video in Kaltura is 25 hours.
Wow.
I know this. I know this because I've recorded 25 hours of recording and uploaded it to Kaltura at full frame 1080p. Gigabytes of video. You can't play it because your browser will choke on a 25-hour video. You can't play it, but you can definitely upload it.
See, that's one of the methods that we have used to help manage our storage space, because we self-store at
Yes.
this point.
And that
is
is
to limit people, and we only encode at a certain resolution.
And that is another policy you need to factor in then, is retention. It's like oftentimes, universities oftentimes find themselves in like this rock and hard place scenario when it comes to retention. By and large, most universities have like a 2-year policy where you must retain all exams and submissions and assignments from students for 2 years. So you can go back, if someone contests their grade, you can go back and look at their assignments to see what happened. And then on the other end of things, state legislatures and sometimes the federal government have policies saying that you can't retain student material longer than like 5 years. So you've got like this 2 to 5 year range where you must have it this long, but no more than that long. And so you need to find systems where they have expiration on video and you can purge that stuff. You can easily, through interfaces, go in and identify very large video files and then filter them. Some platforms accommodate that. Others you have to like program to the API to be able to do that or do database searches. So yes, you need to find right solutions for that. If there's no more questions, I'll let you guys go. Thank you.